Welcome to the newly branded Lunascope Film School channel. Hey, how do you like this? I'm a fortune... Well, I don't think this fortune teller thing is working. It's cool if you're going for a fortune teller thing, but I'm going to show you cooler things to do with it. Like, can we stop doing this, everybody? Come on, let's bring the lights back up. Sorry, I was trying to rebrand the channel a little bit. I'm still going to, but I don't think being a fortune teller is really what it's going to be. Yeah, I'm going to show you some cool stuff you can do with this thing besides being a fortune teller. And yeah, let's roll the bumper and get into it. I get contacted by a lot of different companies that want me to do reviews on their products, and most of the time I do film-centric things. And in this case, it was a company called, I think, Kapebow. I'm terrible with these names. And they reached out to me with something that's non-film centric, but I was curious to see if I could turn it into something I can use in the filming world. And that product was a star projector. A star projector called a Smart Wi-Fi Music Starlight. And yeah, so I'm going to show you it today. So first things first, obviously, I was given this product for free. I'm just going to review it and see if I can make the most out of it. So when opening it up, you see some styrofoam, a USB-C cord, a remote control, and the Starlight itself. Don't get rid of this bottom ring that's inside the box. I'll tell you more about that later. As you can see right here, I'm a little bit clumsy, and I happened to drop the light and broke it just a little bit. Still works fine. It's not going to take away from your enjoyment of this video. Yeah, let's, with that being said, let's move forward and see what we got here. So let's get this out of the way. As a wireless speaker, which it is, it's Bluetooth compatible. You can connect your phone to it. It's not a great wireless speaker. I'll show you what that sounds like now. And this is full blast as well. Anyways, you get the idea. It's pretty tinny. It doesn't have any bass, but I didn't buy it because of its speaker quality. It's just kind of a bonus. Looking at the unit itself, first you can see you have some different modes to listen for the Bluetooth speaker. Then your power, your on and off switch, and also Wi-Fi switch. I'll get to more on that later. A brightness dimmer, and what looks like a USB port, probably for firmware updates or something of that nature. On the top, you have this little kaleidoscope dome, and this is where the laser pointers come out for the stars. So if you're looking for white stars, I'm not a laser scientist by any means. I don't know, what would you call a laserist? I have no idea what you would call a laser scientist. Anyways, I've never seen a white laser. I don't know if they exist or not, so your stars are going to be green. Hope that's okay. I don't even use the stars, but just letting you know. I wish there was a way to battery power this thing. There's not, so you have to plug it in, which I will do now with the USB-C port. And the first thing you do when you turn it on, it will say
Bluetooth mode. Bluetooth connection. Since
I've already connected it, you connect it just like any other Bluetooth device. When it's in Bluetooth mode, it's going to search. You go to your phone, you pair it. Pretty straightforward. Again, I'm going to turn the light and the laser out so it doesn't blind you. Yeah, so that's basically how you'd go into Bluetooth mode. Okay, so the app you're going to need is either an app called Tuya, which I have installed and I have the light set up, but I'm going to use an app called Smart Life. They're basically the exact same thing. Install that. One more thing, make sure if you're on an internet access that has 5.0 and 2.4, make sure you're on the 2.4 Wi-Fi. Now you want to make this in Wi-Fi mode too. As you can see on the side, you scroll that over to Wi-Fi. The first time it opens, it should be flashing. Since this has already been paired with Wi-Fi, we need to reset it. At first, I had no idea how to do that. I've since learned you have to turn it off, then put it on Wi-Fi, then off Wi-Fi, then off, and Wi-Fi again.
Bluetooth mode.
And you'll get to where it's a white light and it starts flashing. That means you're actively in Wi-Fi connecting mode. So we're going to go to try now so I don't have to sign anything up. Sure. All right, and we are going to add a device. Go to that little plus button, go to lighting, lighting source Wi-Fi. Yeah, sure, allow. Okay, from this point, you have to put your password, which I'm not going to give to everybody on the internet. All right, and then it'll say, hey, is your light blinking? Yes, my light is blinking. And now it will go through a little thing where it says, hey, are you sure that everything's doing what it should? It's connecting, which made that stop, which is a good sign. And boom, it sees my light right there, Music Star Light. Tap on that. Boom. Save it and hit done. All right, so now we're inside the app. We can turn it down, obviously, with intensity. You can go into the color space, and this you can really dial in some cool colors now. I'll show you what it looks like better later, but right now it just looks like a little orb of color. But up here, it'll look better in the dark. So you can take your saturation down. It even has scenes that you can control. You can turn it off. You can schedule it to come on at random times. You know, all the good app stuff. We know what apps do. So first, okay, stars are off. And it's just kind of a cool, trippy effect. And you can add more colors in. There's blue. You can only add 2 colors at a time. So just keep that in mind, at least with the remote control. That's blue and green. Anyways, you kind of, you get the idea. And it actually has a really good spread. You can't really see it right now, but it's all over my nice black ceiling. So obviously it doesn't show up very well on black. I'm going to show you it on this softbox here in front of me. So yeah, that's what you guys are looking at, is just what it looks like on this softbox. So when we turn the stars on, you see that there's stars, and you can actually have it just stars too if you want. That's what it looks like with just stars. You can have the stars fade like this, or you can just keep them bright. And with both of them on, you have stars and that trippy effect. So yeah, that's basically what the light does. Now let's see what we can do with it. So the first thing that I thought of was obviously something to do with the background here. And I thought of a lot of ways to rig it up behind me because it's low, so I can't put a C-stand there. You'd see it over the top of my head. And I tried all these things. Like I tried getting a little stand, putting a bar through here and having it dangle down here, but the stand kept getting in the way. And then I thought of maybe a bar going across using a Cardellini clamp. Everything would be attached with one of these guys, and then I would take the styrofoam out of the container it was in, tape all around in here, and put it in there, attached to the Quacker clamp. It was, I was overthinking the problem. In the end, and it worked great, by the way, but there's a much easier way to do this, and that's by just turning it this way and setting it on some Apple boxes behind me. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but sometimes the easiest ideas don't come out first, and you have to do a lot of experimenting to find what is right in front of you. So when I first set it up, this was the result that I got, and I wasn't too thrilled with it. It wasn't bright enough to cut through all the light coming from my 120D, so I needed a way to block the light. Again, my first thought was not the easiest. I thought of, hold on, grabbing one of these giant flags and getting a Cardellini, hanging it from the ceiling, and you can see how that already looks a lot better back there. But again, this was not the easiest route. The easiest route being just putting a grid on the 120D and the softbox. I'm going to do that now. So if you don't know what a grid is, I should explain. A light grid is a modifier so that light only goes in one direction. So basically you put this grid up, and light, instead of going in all directions like it is now, it will only go straight, because if you turn your head Like, if you see me, but when you turn it, you can't see me anymore. And if I was the light would be doing the same thing. That's basically what a grid does. So that looks better. It also gives it a much different feel in here. I kind of like the feel a little better. I don't think I'm going to keep the background, but you can see how some people would dig it, and it would separate your background and bring some movement. Let's see if we can play with the colors and stuff a little bit. If you see me looking up like this, it's because I'm trying to look at the monitor to see what's happening behind me. Now, one thing I do know I want to do is to turn off the stars, because the stars just don't do it for me. They're cool to look at night, but for a backdrop, they're just distracting. So let me do that. All right, that's much better. Let's see if we can get a color scheme that I like here. Let's go with red and blue. Yeah, give you kind of a purple mist, maybe an underwater fantasy. I can't stop looking at myself. You can see how narcissistic I can get. It's kind of an underwater ethereal look back there. Just another thing you can do with this. Also, because of my lighting setup, you can see it's bleeding a little bit more on the blue side. It's not picking up as well because it's just bleeding into that blue light. But it's still kind of cool to have this ethereal look behind you. So yeah, you can also make designs just by cutting the light. What I would do is bring the light up and just gaff tape what you want the light to do. So let's say I didn't want light going through the middle. You could gaff tape just like that. Throw it back on. And now there's nothing in the middle, and the sides both have a little thing going. You could also do the opposite. You can do any pattern you can think of. Just one other thing you can do with this light. You could also see how this would work if you're doing a science fiction movie or just something you needed a lot of things to look like scientific artifacts on a scientist's table. And this would be good for that. You'd probably want to turn the light intensity down so it didn't bleed onto the actors as much. But yeah, when doing stuff like that, you just have to make sure that stuff isn't leaning into the cast of the light, unless that's what you're going for. Now, when it comes to that look I was telling you about, just things moving on a person's face in darkness, for that, you just have to be careful about angles. If you put this directly on me like this, you can see that it's casting onto the background, especially if I turn off my light. Yes, I am lit up, but it also lights up part of the background. So what you need to do is find angles. I'm not really liking that look there, so you couldn't come from the bottom. From the side really doesn't do it for me either. Let's try it up. Yeah, from the top it looks better. You just have to be careful about your angles. Right now it's on this table here, so you would have to just find your angle. That's a little bit better. You can see a little bit of bleed on the back there, but this is a situation you'd probably need to use a little bit of gaffer's tape like I showed before. And if you get up close like this, you can block out the light from hitting the back wall, and you can see it kind of moving around on your actor's face. Another cool thing would be to silhouette your actor. I could really see this work if you were filming in an aquarium. I'd probably turn the intensity down, whatever that stupid thing is. And another thing I want to try is turning this light back on, turning the brightness up, and this could really work. Even in the light, you can see if you were filming somewhere that was by water, you can have reflections of water coming up like that, move it just slightly. That ethereal action really does work for stuff like that. So you can do a lot of stuff with this light. So I hear you asking, well, how would you rig it up above your head like that without having to hold it? I guess the old quacker clamp is coming back out. So I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to grab our trusty gaffer tape and just cut off strips. Roll them in, stick them on. Cut out strips, roll them up, and stick them on. I'm putting it near the top portion. You'll see why here in a second. All right, so now I have a ring of gaffer tape. Now you grab your light and really shove it down in there. Push the sides in, make sure it sticks really well. From underneath, you can see how the gaffer tape has slid down a little more, and it holds it right in place. So now that you have that, I hear you saying, well, great, we have a little styrofoam thing, but how does that help me? The quacker clamp that I've been dying to use. So there's not a lot of surface area to grip on the front. So you want to make sure that you're as far forward there as you are. You want to make sure you're as far forward there as you can be. Stick this over on the back as far as you can get it, while leaving it on the front, and make sure you are level so neither of the sides are popping out. Squeeze down, and boom, you can rig it just like that. Now I can put it up here, I can put it anywhere I want, because I found a way to rig, and with grip gear, like I said before, you can find a way to rig anything. Now, is this the best way to rig it? Probably not. If I sat here and thought for a while, I'd probably come up with something better. But this works pretty damn good, and this really isn't going anywhere. If it bothered you, you could put more gaff tape around the sides right here. But for me, this is pretty damn strong. So would I recommend this product for video and filmmakers? Not unless you want to use it in one of these unique use cases I've shown today. If you have something that you could use this for, absolutely. It's like $45. It's not that expensive. But for the most part, if you don't already have a use case for it, I don't see the point in purchasing it as a filmmaker. But if you are looking for a star projector with cool patterns on your ceiling, a light night for the kids, anything like that, it is something I can recommend. The kids that I've shown this to have loved this thing. The speaker doesn't bother them because they don't know what sound quality is, and they just like having that light. It's just something to look at. It's fun for them. And yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I know I say it every video, but it really does help the channel when you hit the like button. It doesn't take a lot of time. Just hit it like now. I mean, what are you doing? You're sitting there watching me. Just hit the button. It really would help me out while I try to battle the YouTube algorithm that I can't seem to crack. If you like what I do here, you're already subscribed, tell a friend. Give me some of that free publicity, right? On the backs of my fans. I want to make it on the backs of my fans. No, of course not. I'm thankful for every subscriber I have and the community that we're starting here. If you think somebody else would like that community, bring them on board. If you have anything to say to me, you have any questions, hit me up in the descriptions. Just remember, it's not a competition. Let's all rise in this business together. I'll see you on the next one.